Here on Mets Daily, I'm Jake Brown at Jake Brown Radio. Please smash that thumbs up right now on YouTube. Every thumbs up helps. We're over 1,200 subscribers, 2 months in. I believe today is our 2-month anniversary of Mets Daily. We appreciate the support of the channel thus far. And our weekly guest this week, we've heard from a former Met. We've heard from a Mets content creator. Now we go to the current state of the New York Mets. He will start, most likely, the season in Double-A for the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. We'll see if they change their team name again. Used to be the Binghamton Mets, now the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. He is the pride. I shouldn't say pride. The Terp, the turtle. It's the pride of Hofstra for me, or the Terp of Maryland, Nick Lorusso. Nick, we've spoken before. Glad to have you on this new venture I'm doing with Mets Daily. You're down in Port St. Lucie. You got a nice tan. Tell us about your experience thus far. It's been a few weeks now into spring training. I can't believe we're a couple of weeks from opening day. Just break down the spring experience, guys you've met, guys you spoke to. I want to hear all about PSL.
I mean, it's been amazing so far, and being the second time through a full spring training, you definitely get the ins and outs of everything. Backing up big league games, playing on the backfields. We actually start playing other teams starting next week, all the minor leaguers. But it's been a blast so far, and I can't wait to see what's next.
Who have you got to speak to Juan Soto and some of these guys yet? And we hear about even Francisco Lindor, Nick, like marveling at watching Soto and BP. Are you a guy who is a fellow hitter who hits a lot of homers in the minors that's marveling at Juan Soto, and have you got to interact with him?
Yeah, obviously we're when we're backing up big league games, we go into the dining room, we have dinner, and you can't help but just stop and like stare and see those guys of Juan Soto, Francisco Lindor. I've actually gotten to talk to Pete Alonso a little bit, kind of pick his brain and what he's thinking about during at bats, what he thinks about in the field. But going back to Juan Soto, I mean, what a terrific athlete, what a terrific baseball player, one of the best ever in my opinion. And just seeing him go about his business from the games that I've backed up, it's incredible to see.
What is advice that Pete Alonso gives you? He's obviously the rookie home run king. What's like a message he might share to you about your swing and what you can do at the big league level?
It's mostly the time that I talked to him. It was breaking down the pitchers. What exactly this guy on the mound for a specific day has. He was sharing with like Mark Vientos, who was hitting the following inning, just about what the pitcher had, what his tendencies are, whether he likes a get me over slider, whether he is aggressive early in the counts. So just little things like that.
You talk about Mark Vientos. He plays the same position as you. Now you play first and third, and you talk about Pete Alonso. You talked about the two guys that are at your position. One we expect to be there for potentially a long time in Swaggy V. Pete Alonso, we're not sure because 2-year deal. If he has a big year, he probably opts out. Maybe the Mets move on. Is there any intimidation when you look at a big league roster and you're in an organization and you see, damn, he's at my position, he's at my position? Is that something in the back of your mind at all?
No, not at all. Our minor league coaches harp on the idea that they're trying to create, a big league atmosphere for us, and they're trying to, make us all become big leaguers. Whether that be for the Mets, that'd be great. But they ultimately want to see us all become big leaguers, whether it is with the Mets or with another organization.
Are you somewhat comfortable? I would assume you are. If they're like, hey, we want you to be a designated hitter, are you cool with that?
Absolutely. My big philosophy is whatever gets you in the lineup, and whatever that may be, I'm all in for.
All right, you played a majority of 2024 in Single A Brooklyn. Then you go to Double A Binghamton. You haven't left the state of New York. You've gotten kind of lucky. You haven't had to go to like Iowa or like some Maine or some boring place. Binghamton's not the most exciting, but you've been in the state of New York. Brooklyn, you're in one of the 5 boroughs. Like you could go out in New York. Take me through at least your Brooklyn experience and kind of how cool that was. The views we know there are remarkable. Like Coney Island's pretty cool, but I imagine you got to experience that New York City and Manhattan life on days you were off and got to experience what the greatest city in the world has to offer.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I'm a Connecticut kid, born and raised pretty much. So, I'm familiar with the area a little bit, but Coney Island is a pretty special place. And, what an atmosphere. The games, even on like Wednesday, Thursday nights, when you don't think a lot of fans are coming in, they always show a ton of support. And my time in Brooklyn was tremendous. I got to work with Gilbert Gomez, who's the manager there. He'll be the manager again this coming year. He's a truly special person, and he's helped me develop along the way. But my experience in Brooklyn was terrific.
You talk about the development, and that's been something a lot of people have talked. I mean, Juan Soto addressed family, but guys within the organization, Nick, talk about how good the coaches are, how good the owners are, how good maybe even the food is. Like, have you noticed as someone who progressed from single A to double A that the Mets are doing it right and they have got it right in terms of coaching and developmental status and the food and just everywhere your stays, the hotels, all of that? Have you felt that they've done a good job with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially when you have an owner such as Steve Cohen, he treats the little things right, and that's all I've heard from multiple people in the Mets organization that he wants to create the minor league atmosphere like a major league atmosphere, and it's pretty special to see because I have a bunch of different friends in different organizations, and from what it sounds like, the Mets treat their minor leaguers like royalty.
Who are some of your friends you've made? Now you only got a little bit of time at Double A, but a lot of the people we're talking about, it's like Jet Williams and the Acuna and Mauricio, and who are some of the guys that you befriended maybe in Single A and Double A that Mets fans could be hearing this year or next year about them coming up to the big leagues?
Yeah, the two guys that come to mind are Brandon Sproat and Nolan McLean. Obviously, in my draft class, got to spend a lot of time with them in Brooklyn, and then time in Binghamton when Sproat was there for 2 weeks while I was there, and then he ended up getting shipped to Syracuse, and then Nolan McLean was there for the remainder of the year, and I've gotten really close with him. Two terrific pitchers, and something that Mets fans should be excited for.
Are you going to attempt to grow the '70s porn stash like Brandon Sproat is growing?
No, I'm out on that, but he's rocking it pretty well so far, and I think he's gonna hold on to it for some time.
Are you? I mean, you could be a Yankee now if you have facial hair. It is allowed as long as you're well groomed. I don't think I would be with this mess I got on my face. But are you a guy that plans to grow facial hair, or you seem like a clean shaven, like baby face kind of guy?
No, I grew out my beard in my college days a little bit. It's kind of a mojo thing, if it's going well at the plate, you kind of just leave the beard going, and maybe if you had a slump or two in a little bit, you shave it off.
Brandon Sproat's a name that Mets fans are raving over. He could hit 98, 99 in the gun. He's got good off-speed stuff. He really dominated Double A, but struggled at Triple A. Now, do you see him being in the big leagues this year? Like, it feels like Mets fans are ready by the time the start of the summer that he's part of the rotation. Can you see him making the jump, and why can he make that jump?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I can talk all day about the competitor he is. How he treats every day, how he goes about his business. He was giving me what it was like on the big league side, facing those big leaguers. They give him little details, but seeing different lives, seeing him go against Pete Alonso, even guys like Drew Gilbert, who are knocking on the door of the big leagues. I definitely see him, not only him, but Nolan McLean as well. Knocking on the door sometime soon.
Yeah, Nolan's a name. Dom is a name that's been mentioned as well. You mentioned a few of those hitters and Drew Gilbert, and we talk about Acuna and Jet Williams. You fall under the radar a little bit. Do you like falling under the radar? Maybe people not talking about you and you kind of maybe sneaking up, or do you feel disrespected a little bit?
No, I go about my business, like any other person would. But I'm the type that likes to work, in the shadows a little bit, likes to not necessarily have my name in the spotlight, but perform and, contribute on an everyday basis.
Who do you compare yourself to? I think in the past you've told me Nolan Arenado. Has that changed since then?
I mean, Nolan is he's one of one, man. I mean, he's truly special. Just watching, even when I'm backing up big league games, Mark Vientos, I see a lot of similarities with me and him. Standing next to him, getting to pick even Pete Alonso's brain a little bit. I just compare myself to those guys, just because I'm watching them a lot.
What is your weakness? What did you work on the most this offseason? You hit 12 homers, 44 RBIs. You hit 262. Your OBP was 367, so 105 points higher. Meaning you had a pretty good eye. You walked 46 times. So, 46 times out of 286 at bats is a pretty good rate. But what didn't you do that you kind of maybe lost sleep over this offseason that you really worked on? Or you currently still working on, because spring is the time you are working on your game as well with the coaching staff.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you two things. Number one was obviously I had that unfortunate injury when I got hit in the hand, and obviously something I can't control. But I wanted to be conditioned enough to where I can play 143 to, as Lindor says it, 175 games. You want to be playing into October, into early November. So I wanted to be ready. I wanted my feet to be ready, my legs to be ready for a full season's load. And number two is something that we're working on now a lot with the infielders, is first step quickness. And I feel like we're kind of implementing that every day. And I'm excited to see how it translates into the game.
You had 9 stolen bases. Are we going to get that up to 15 or 20, assuming you're healthy this year?
That's the goal, man. That's the goal. 2020 would be amazing.
I mean, listen, the sport is begging you to steal bases now, like with the bigger bags and all the rules that they're implementing. I believe is it being used in Double A, the ABS rule? I know they're trying in spring training, but are they using it in Double A?
That's a good question. That's something I have no idea. I know they're testing it in spring training, and it's pretty interesting to see all these
I like it.
the umpires. Yeah, yeah. How the game could be changed in the near future.
Do you look at yourself as a bopper? Like, do you look at yourself like a Pete Alonso, like a guy that one day you make the big leagues, hit 30? Do you want to be a contact hitter? Do you want to be somewhere in between? Like, who are you as a hitter?
I would just say a pure hitter. Not necessarily the most power, but can get there when needed. But I just compare myself to, some of the best pure hitters in baseball. And that's when I want to be a mix of, contact, maybe a little bit of average, but, getting that slug up as well.
Have you in your minor league time, your agent who I talked to, Joseph Guzman, shout out to him. Um, have you heard like trade talk? Like, do you hear it? Like, has Joseph said, "Hey, Pittsburgh's interested in you"? Has that happened so far in your career?
He's mentioned possibly last year the Oakland Athletics as maybe just kind of like a filler piece, but he tries to keep that stuff on the DL. He just lets me kind of go about my business, lets me focus on the games. But as far as that stuff comes, no, nothing too crazy.
And listen, I feel like that's something that's in the back of your mind when as a minor leaguer, a lot of guys get traded, and sometimes you end up being a better fit for another organization. So while being with the Mets, I'm sure, is glorious and a lot better than some organizations, I imagine in the back of your mind, like, hey, like, do you keep an eye on other situations? Like, hey, in Oakland, they're a little weak at third base or first base. Is that something, maybe not during a game, but like, during the day, on the dark days, the dog days of summer, that you're watching and monitoring other teams at all?
No, I kind of just focus on me and just performing the best of my ability, and kind of that stuff will all take care of itself. Obviously it's hard not to when especially last year when the Mets were pretty busy at the trade deadline, and we are like mid, warm up, and three guys on our Binghamton team get traded. So it's definitely hard to ignore. But no, I just go about my business every day, treat it one game at a time. And, if another team is looking to trade for me and the Mets feel like it's right, then so be it.
Can you take me through that? Like, you were on the field for warm-ups when these guys got traded and they pulled them all at the field and you had to hug them goodbye. And who were they
It,
again?
it's crazy. Paul Gervais was one to the Rays, and that was one we weren't really expecting, because it was around the 4 o'clock deadline time, but apparently these last minute deals are flying in at all times. But I talked to some of my friends when they were in Brooklyn, and you had Cade Morris and Wilfredo Lara get traded within 30 minutes of each other while they're warming up. So the trade deadline is a pretty crazy time.
Now you got what called up in July to Double A, and then when did you get hurt? Was it soon after that?
It was about 2 or 3 weeks after. So I had a quick series in Vermont, about 3 games, and then it was the All Star break. Came back from the All Star break, played 3 more games, and then it was that seventh game that I was hit by a pitch in Richmond.
Yeah, I feel like we spoke right when you got called up to Double A. Remember that? So
Mm-hmm.
you had
Yep.
eight games in Double A, one homer, two RBIs. I gotta imagine this offseason you are itching to get back out there because I would think the back of your mind is like, hey, if I could just ball out for 4 months in Double A, there's a strong chance
Mm-hmm.
that by August, September, I could be at Syracuse and be one step closer to my dream.
Mm-hmm. Big time, big time. It was a sour taste in my mouth. The season was going well, but I really pushed myself this offseason to take it to that next level, and that's something I'm hoping for this year, and I'm really itching for it.
Do you have a goal board where your goal here is 2026 to be in the big leagues?
Yeah, absolutely. From where I was, the goal was to be in Double A by age 24. Obviously, I did that at age 23 last year. But I know that Double A, at times can be one call away. But obviously, I'm a pretty goal oriented person, and I'm looking for the next step. Pretty consistently, and that happens to be Syracuse. I'm really looking forward to the challenge and really looking forward to what I can do this year.
So is that like on your vision board? Is that like, hey, I want to be in Syracuse at some point this season?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's everyone's goal as well, is moving up as quickly as possible. But for someone that's already 24 years old, yeah, that's a serious goal in mine.
What do you think of the coaches so far at Double A? What is it? Reed Brignac is the
Hmm.
manager still. What do you think of him? Obviously, a former big leaguer. And what do you think of that coaching staff? And how have they kind of helped you get better here?
Yeah, Reed is terrific. He's going to be there again this year, helping me a lot with infield stuff, just slowing the game down a little bit. But for the most part, we have a pretty new staff. Um, and not sure exactly who is going to be the hitting pitching coach. I know that's already been announced, and we've kind of met everybody a little bit, but they're still working some things out. But I give a lot of props to Reed. Obviously a player's coach. He's been there, tells us what he experienced and all that. So I'm excited to play for him again this year.
Ryan Clifford is an intriguing name to me. Just his ability, similar to you, get on base a lot. He also has power. What do you think of his potential here as well? Because another guy who plays similar position, but also plays outfield, first base, and outfield.
Hmm.
In my mind, what I'm thinking, if the Mets don't, if Pete doesn't come back and the Mets don't end up signing Vladimir Guerrero Jr., is they're going to go internally, whether it's you, whether it's Ryan Clifford or someone else. Tell us a little bit about another guy that you play with in Ryan Clifford.
Yeah, me and Ryan have gotten really close over last year. Obviously starting out in Brooklyn, then moving to Binghamton. And I think he's a truly special player. I think the pop is real. Some of the balls off his bat just sound different than a lot of the minor leaguers that I've played with. But and his versatility. I mean, you said it. He can play the outfield well. He can play first base really well. I'm excited to see what his future what his future can be. I mean, he sets the bar really high for himself every day, and it should be exciting, and Mets fans should be excited.
How's the accommodations they got you at Port St. Lucie? I've been to PSL a few times. You know, you got Duffy's. Have you gone bowling at Duffy's? I assume the experience
Yeah,
Applebee's.
that was when I was first drafted. We had a little get together at Duffy's, and we bowled a little bit, but nothing crazy. We're in an Airbnb near Tradition in Port St. Lucie. And it's a really good time. It's way better than staying in a hotel for the majority of the day.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I think the Mets really do it right, and so they let you know days in advance. Are you going to play Saturday? You're going to be in the lineup.
It sounds like it. Yeah, I'll be backing up the big league game on Saturday.
That's got to be like Pete Alonso comes out and you come in. That must like feed you even more motivation to kind of get there. Is like, All right, I got you, Pete. I'm coming in for you. Like, you must want to hit a piss missile when you come in the game for someone like Pete Alonso and hit one of 400 feet.
Exactly, man. And both times I've come in for Vientos twice, and both situations it's tie game and in the bottom of the ninth. So obviously, you know, I'm eager. I'm looking to hit a home run. But I keep getting reminded that it's the same game. You just got to slow it down a little bit, and everything else will work out.
And then you play in minor because they don't televise the minor league games. You're playing in games as well in the minors, I assume, every couple of days or every day, right?
Yep, that starts next week. And that's something that's I'm looking forward to. That's something last year that we had a lot of success on, and you can build momentum leading up to the season.
Have you spoke to Carlos Mendoza? He seems like just the most even keel guy and the right guy for the job. I mean, I talk about the 2024 Mets and what they did for me and being laid off and moving from New York and that special playoff run. Like, it was magical. And unfortunately, Candelito won't be a part of it. Jose Iglesias anymore. He's going to the Padres. But Mendoza in his first year, I think, won over Mets fans for a guy that no one really heard of or knew about. Have you got to talk to him or get to know him at all a bit?
Briefly talk to him, and what I can say is he's created an atmosphere that's very relaxed and, like you said, even keeled. And I mean, and it shows within the players. I mean, we all think of these players as superstars, and obviously they are superstars, but at the end of the day, they're just like us. They're goofing around in the dugout, they're having fun during spring training, and I think that's a testament to Mendoza and how relaxed he makes everyone feel, and he definitely seems like a player's coach.
Did you get to experience the playoff run? Did they have any of the guys go to the games at Citi Field during the playoffs?
I don't think so. No, nobody that I knew, but I know most of the coaches like Reed and Gilbert Gomez were a part of it, and they said it was a blast.
This team could win it all, right? Like, do you look at
Hmm.
this Mets team and think, hey, like, I think all Mets fans are excited. Like, they were 2 wins from a pennant and added Juan Soto. Like, you have to think
Hmm.
that, even in the minor, you're thinking to yourself, hey, like, some of my teammates, some of these guys, and maybe me could be part of a team that's going to win for many years to come here.
Exactly, man. I'm excited to see it this year, and I know a lot of Mets fans are, so I can't wait.
All right, what's your predicted stat line? Are you hitting? Let's assume you're healthy. What are we thinking? 25 and 80, and you hit 280. Is that good?
That'd be a blessing, man. I would love to crack that 20 home run mark, something that I thought I was on pace for last year.
All right, if you hit 25 homers, I will take you out for a steak dinner in the city or my spot, Little Dipper. We'll have caviar with French onion dip. It's incredible on me. 25 homers, and maybe I'll be lenient and say 20 plus. I want at least 20 plus if we get there. Dinner on me.
Sounds good. I'll hold you to it.
Nick Lorusso, you'll see him in Double A and hopefully at some point Triple A. This guy cannot leave the state of New York. He's destined to stay in New York, and hopefully, I think this year is pushing it, but next year maybe we see you in Queens. We appreciate you coming on Mets Daily, and good luck the rest of the way.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Smash that thumbs up on the video. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching Mets Daily, everyone. Jake Brown checking out. We'll see you tomorrow.